Hello, good morning, greetings, everyone. You are listening or watching to Light Up with Shwa, a weekly podcast on conscious living and parenting. This is January 13th, 2021. My episodes this year for the first quarter will be on the topics that I will be sharing with you, and also my goal is to bring some experts on mental health, which I'm working on, and I will be also talking and sharing about what I have learned and what our communities are going through and how we can find solutions and how can we equip ourselves for various situations, especially with children. So today's topic is parental alienation. This is a very important topic. I am not sure people understand generally because I myself learned a few years ago that this is a common practice among families and people. So let me give you the definition first and then we can discuss more about it. So it is a situation. Parental alienation is a situation in which one parent uses strategies, sometimes referred to as brainwashing or alienating or programming, to distance a child or few children that you have from the other parent. So obviously, this is not a very good thing to do. Doesn't matter who you are. Also, sometimes extended families use this low tactic to brainwash the young ones against whoever they are not very happy with or not in good terms in relationships. That's why I'm big on relationships, that we must learn how to have good, positive, open hearted relationships, because then you will have less room for these type of syndromes or habits. We want to do it because we want to get back at them. I think we need to get out of that type of state in order for us to have healthy relationships, and we can have that with anybody. So parent alienation is it has been given as a title, and I'll talk about that also. But it's used against the other spouse through you use the children to do this. Parent alienation is not only common in the US, in Western countries, but also in Asian and Middle Eastern countries. And it is not nothing has it doesn't have to do anything with the faith or the color of your skin. So please put that aside. This is a human condition that we get into. And if you are newly divorced or going through a messy separation, or even if you split from a partner some time ago or are in the process of doing that, uh, these things are um, taking place in some relationships. I'm not saying this is for everybody. I hope we can learn from those who do not do that, and they do not intentionally do that because there is a tendency to get back at the other person or your spouse when you have bad feelings because you're breaking up. But I think that is, you have to rise higher than that, and be a better human being for your children, for yourself, and for your spouse. Because now that you're breaking up, why do you want to bring them down, right? So, anyways, this all comes into that realm, which is how we think and feel about others. Parent alienation syndrome. This was actually coined, this term was coined by parental expert, and I think he was, maybe you have heard about him, Richard Gardner in 1985 termed this a syndrome, parent alienation syndrome, and used it to describe behaviors in a child who is exposed to parental alienation. So some experts still today, and this title is not accepted in the manual yet, or not defined there in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5 as it is called. It's in fifth revision according to the article that I am following. I will share the resources with you soon. They will be my resources in the show notes. So I don't want you to be distracted by that. I want you to just listen and see if this is happening in your home. If it's not, then have you noticed or observed it happening in other homes or people around you? And if not, be happy, be thankful. That's really good. And but if you're informed, then you can help others to educate about this topic in terms of your children should realize that you never fall for that. So I think it can be taught to adults and children not to come into this state of getting convinced by somebody who wants bad uh, to happen to the other person. And kids suffer through this their whole life. If they go through this, they really um, have, lifetime difficulties in listening to that inner voice that was negative. And sometimes you don't even realize, why am I doing this or thinking like this? Because in your childhood times, you just had bad parents, I guess. So that's how I will define it. But anyways, but we should have the skills and ways how to get out of it also, because this world is where you have challenges. You have to navigate through these type of issues, situations that are not always good for you. So how to deal with that and successfully get out of it? So it is not officially considered as a syndrome in the scientific and mental health fields so far. But that doesn't mean that the situation doesn't exist. This does not mean that the situation doesn't affect people or it doesn't happen, right? So we need to be aware of it. Parent alienation is um, I find more in my experience, it can be prevalent more in Western cultures because there aren't very many extended family living around you, or siblings or people whom you can go to and say, well, this is what's happening and how can we, take care of it. There will be more distractions for the couple because here in the Western world, we are single family people. We are just husband and wife or partners, and we are just between us. We have no other option to think better or have some good advice. Just like here in the Western world, we have more uh, therapists in our lives, or as compared to our relatives or people who would know maybe better what to suggest us. But we are more trusting of the therapists and psychologists. And I'm not saying that is not a good thing, but they fill those gaps of, I think, relatives and parents and grandparents and all that. So anyways, let me move on from there. So basically, the parent child relationship suffers whether the allegations are true or not. If a child is repeatedly told, for example, that the dad is bad or the mother is bad and doesn't want to see you, or um, and that can be false. It's not necessarily true because you're trying to, uh, you know, create a bad reputation for the other spouse. Basically, that's what's happening. So the child actually comes to this point, and there is an example, and I will share the link on my show notes. NPR's Mary Louise Kelly uh, interviewed Barbara Bradley Haggerty, and she has written in an article in Atlantic. And this all happened in December 2020, so it's very recent. It's not very old information. This situation, or people who do that, have a, we can title it, and PAS, as they say, parental alienation syndrome, also isn't recognized yet. I just want to let you know, as a mental health condition by American Psychological Association, American Medical Association, World Health Organization. But the DSM does have a code for child affected by parental relationship distress. So I'll repeat that: child affected by parental relationship distress, which PS would fall under, right? Signs and symptoms of parental alienation syndrome. So Gardner uh, um, identified 8 symptoms. Let me go to the symptoms. So the child constantly and unfairly criticizes the parent who has been alienated. So it's kind of a campaign by one parent against the other. Like, we know that very well nowadays, right? How we campaign politically against the other person to bring them down so badly that people would like start believing because you repeated it enough times. And this is also called uh, s- um, it's used in politics, it's used anywhere. I don't want to get into that, but people who repeat wrong news, repeat every day, people start believing the lies, right? So, anyways, the second point is the child doesn't have any strong evidence, though. They don't have any specific examples. They just feel and just keep saying what they have been brainwashed with. They think that this is the truth. They don't find any solutions because they're too young. Mostly, this is happening to children who are in elementary school and younger, and maybe middle school, and also high school. But if that's when the parent starts, I think children might be a little wiser and not really, really listen to the parent if they are lying and untruthful, because you never should do that. You need to sit with, as an adult, with your spouse and talk about issues, or get the therapist or get the family involved instead of using children to do this. And that it's not a good thing that they're doing anyways. They're not finding help from children. Okay, children, please, can you help us? And I think that is unfair to do that, because children shouldn't be taking your burdens at that age and stage. So the third one is that child feels really mixed up, has a very bad feeling or mixed up feelings, is mostly negative about that parent. And I can imagine, like, how would you feel that you don't want to alienate your parent, but you are feeling it. Um, so anyways, it's a bad state. The child claims the criticisms are all their own conclusions, which it is not the truth. So that is where we have to differentiate. Sometimes children do have their own opinions and calculated conclusions from their personal experience with a parent. That is a separate thing than a parent just putting in their head that this is what your mother or father is, and then they start believing it, right? So that's the difference between that. In reality, parental alienation is set to like program the child with these ideas that children think that this is what it is. The child has full support for the alienator, the person who is alienating the other spouse. The child is so sure and full support, and snubs and curses the other parent so easily without any remorse, and hurts the parent. Now we don't know if uh, the other side is actually that way or not. That is not the point here. This shouldn't be done through the children like this, to actually pollute young brains and minds. And we can imagine how would they behave once they're out in the world? How would they have their own relationships? We need to think about that, right? The child doesn't feel guilty about mistreating or hating the alienated parent. So that's another sad part. Number seven, the child uses terms and phrases that you will feel that they are adult terms, or the way they are speaking, the vocabulary they used. It feels like they have borrowed from somewhere, and they are so like confidently saying it. And and the parent knows that this doesn't sound like my own child, if they are connected and if they are right. The child's feelings of hatred toward the alienated parent can also expand to the other family members, because that's how actually the father or the mother wants the children to think, that the other side is the most horrible, and this, that, and the other, and whole family and friends, anything they do, anything they choose, whatever they, are the worst. And that is where, as human beings, we need to really pay attention and get conscious and bring our awareness outside into the reality of things, that this is not the way to live. It is not heaven on earth, it's hell on earth. So we want to make heaven on earth. So I hope this was helpful. So I hope you have a really good day, and this year is uh, beginning to be less challenging and more clarity comes to all of us. So I'll continue in other episodes a little more about uh, this topic, and I will be continuing with the group discussions as well. So take care, and please do remember to subscribe, Light Up with Shwa. I'm available on almost all social media, but more active on YouTube, Facebook. I am on the page. I mean, I keep posting stuff. You can find me, my links, and on most of the social media, as I said. And also, please visit my website, lightupwithshwa.com. Please leave a comment or two. Let me know what you think about this episode or any other episode. And to get updates, press the bell icon on YouTube. And if you send me your email through the website, I can put you on my alert list, anything that is coming up. All right. Have a good day. Take care till we meet next time. Bye bye.